So today we are going to start a new chapter, and the chapter is a polynomial. So before going to start the chapter, let me discuss the definition. What do you mean by polynomial? Then what do you mean by zero of the polynomial? So first write down the definition of polynomial. First write down the definition of polynomial. So what is the definition of polynomial? So what is the definition of polynomial? The expression of the form a0 x to the power n plus a1 x to the power n minus 1 plus a n minus 1 x plus an. This is the form of a polynomial, and where a0, that means the coefficient of x to the power n cannot be 0, is called the polynomial in variable x. So this is the definition of polynomial. Now see here, this term a0, so write down the definition. That term a0, comma a1, then an are called the coefficient of the terms of the polynomial. Now, so the term a0, a1, a to the power n are called the coefficient of the terms of the polynomial. Yes or no? So that means a0 here, a0, a1, then your an minus 1, an. These are known as the coefficient. Okay, these are known as the coefficient of the terms of the polynomial. Now see here, we know that the highest power of x, that means the variable here, variable x, so highest power of x in a polynomial px, it is known as px. Now see, it is a polynomial in variable x, so we can denote this as px. Px equal to a0 x to the power n plus a1 x n minus 1 plus a n minus 1 x plus a n. Now see, a0, a1, a2, a3 up to an, and in the same way x to the power n, then x to the power n minus 1, x to the power, then now see the coefficient are decreasing. Sorry, not coefficient, the power of the variable is decreasing. Suppose first power is 5, next power will be 4, such that, and this term coefficient is increasing, a0, a1. Okay, now see the highest power here, the highest power, suppose if the value of n is 4, so if the value of n is 4, then the degree of the polynomial will be 4. We know these things. So the highest power of x in a polynomial px is called the degree of the polynomial. Okay, the highest power of x in a polynomial is called the degree of the polynomial. This is known as the degree of the polynomial. The highest power x in a polynomial px is called px is called the degree of the polynomial. Okay, now see, suppose let me take one example. Suppose one example is 3x square suppose 3x cube plus 2x square plus x, yes or no? Then suppose 1. This is the suppose polynomial in the variable x. Now the power of this polynomial will be 3. Why? Because here the highest power is your 3. That's why the power of the polynomial will be your 3. Okay, because the highest power is here your 3. That's why the power of the polynomial will be 3 here. So now see this one. 0 means root. Okay, 0 means roots of the polynomial. 0 means roots of the polynomial. So next write down 0 of the polynomial. Next write down 0 of the polynomial. Next write down 0 of the polynomial. So what do you mean by 0 of the polynomial? So write down for any polynomial px, if p k equal to 0, that means if the value of x, after putting the value of x, suppose this is a polynomial, and after putting the value of x equal to k, if this value becomes 0, then what happens? Then k is called the 0 of the polynomial. Okay, so for any polynomial px, if pk equal to 0, comma, then k is called the 0 of polynomial px. So what do you mean by 0 of the 0 means roots. So what do you mean by 0 of the polynomial for any polynomial px? If pk equal to 0, that means suppose one polynomial is there. Suppose px equal to 2x square, 2x cube, suppose 3x square plus x. Suppose this is the polynomial. And if the value of this polynomial is 0, when you put x equal to k, then k will be the 0 of the polynomial. Clear? Then k will be the 0 of the polynomial. So this is the 0, k is called a 0 of the polynomial px. Okay, so now see, polynomial, there are the types of polynomial depend upon the degree. If the highest degree is 1, then it is known as linear polynomial. If the highest degree is 2, it is known as quadratic polynomial. If the highest degree is 3, it is known as cubic polynomial. Okay, so the types of the polynomial depends upon the what? Depend upon its degree. So the types of the polynomial depend upon its degree. Okay, so so this is the 0 of the polynomial. Next write down types of the polynomial. Types of the polynomial. Next write down types of the polynomial. So write down. You have already got types of the polynomial in class 9. So write down depending upon the degree of the polynomial, one minute. So depending upon the degree of the polynomial, it can be divided into many types. Aswati, can you hear me? linear polynomial. Number 2 is your quadratic polynomial. Number 3 is your cubic polynomial. Then that means linear polynomial means what? When the degree is 1, then it is known as linear. Linear equation in the same way linear polynomial. If the degree of a polynomial is 2, then it is known as quadratic polynomial. And if the degree of a polynomial is 3, then it is known as cubic polynomial. Firstly, just now we have discussed what is polynomial. Okay, so I gave this video. I will give this video in YouTube, then you can understand. So polynomial means, suppose, let me, this one. See this one. The expression of the form n naught, first see this one. The expression of the form n naught x to the power n. So now say this one. So linear polynomial, depending upon the degree of the polynomial, it can be divided into many types. Type 1 is your linear polynomial when the degree is 1. Type 2 is your quadratic polynomial when the degree is 2. And type 3 is your cubic polynomial when the degree is 3. Okay, so in the same way, if degree is 4, then it is known as what? Your 4 is known as what? Linear, quadratic, cubic, then your so write down this one. It is not required, but for your knowledge, write down. Suppose when degree is your 4, then it is known as your quartic polynomial. Quartic, quartic polynomial. When degree is 5, that means highest power of the variable, then it is known as your quintic polynomial. Okay, so in such way, if the degree is 6, then it is known as sextic polynomial. When degree is 6. So such in that way you can name the polynomial 7, then 8. Okay, so up to 4, you have to know up to 4 the name of the polynomial. When the degree is 4, when the degree is 3, cubic, when the degree is 2, it is known as your quadratic, when the degree is 1, it is known as your linear polynomial. So it depends upon the degree. Types of polynomial is depend upon the degree. Okay, so types of polynomial is depend upon the degree. Okay, so now up to this clear, all of you? Clear? Okay. So now write down one example. Suppose if ax, write down, if ax plus b, so it is known as what? Linear polynomial or quadratic polynomial? Ax plus b. It is known as linear polynomial or quadratic polynomial? Ax plus b. Here degree is 1. So if the degree is 1, then it is known as what? Linear polynomial. Yes or no? Yes, linear polynomial. So write down, if ax plus b is a linear polynomial, then 0 or root, that is the value of x of this polynomial can be obtained as follows. So if ax plus b is a linear polynomial, then how can you find the roots of the polynomial? Just you have to equate it equal to 0. You have to write down this polynomial equal to 0. You have to equate it to 0. That means ax plus b equal to 0. This is the linear polynomial. Now if you equate it equal to 0, you can find the value of x. That means ax will be minus b. So x will be minus b by a. Yes or no? So this x equal to minus b by a is known as the root of this polynomial, a linear polynomial ax plus b equal to 0. Clear? Hasati, clear?
Sir, yes.
Okay. So how can you find the root of a polynomial? Just you have to write down equal to 0. You have to equate it to 0. Then you can find the value of x or y. Suppose if the polynomial is given in terms of y, then you have to find the value of y. And if the polynomial is given in terms of x, then you have to find the value of x. So this will be the roots of the polynomial. Okay. So next I done some point. Some important points. Number one, number of zeros or roots of a polynomial px is always equal to or less than the degree of the polynomial px. Okay. So what is the meaning of this statement? Read the statement. Number of zeros or roots of a polynomial px is always equal to or less than degree of the polynomial px. Suppose you are given one. Suppose you are given one polynomial. Suppose let me take one example of a polynomial. Suppose one polynomial is given. Suppose normal one polynomial is given, cubic polynomial, ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d. Now, this is suppose one cubic polynomial. Now see, the number of zeros or roots or zeros same meaning, roots or zero same. Number of zeros or roots of a polynomial px is always equal to or less than the degree of the polynomial. That means here the degree of the polynomial is how much? 3. So then it has it has 3 number of roots. Okay, that means number of roots are, or it has 3 number of roots, or it may have less than 3 number of roots, that is 2 number of roots. That means the number of roots of a polynomial, that is how many number of roots are there, is always less than the degree of the polynomial. Clear this one? Clear, Hasade? Kosik?
Sir, yes.
So suppose let me take one example, one quadratic polynomial. Now we know that when you equal to 0, then you can find the value of x, but it is not as polynomial. Now the number of roots of this quadratic polynomial is always equal to 2 or less than equal to 2, but it the number of roots that means the number of roots of this quadratic polynomial, what? The number of roots of this quadratic polynomial cannot be 3 or 4, because 3 and 4 are greater than 2, and the number point already says that the number of 0, that means how many roots or how many zeros of the polynomial have or polynomial has, is always less than the degree of the polynomial. Suppose this is one linear polynomial, so it has only one root because the degree is 1. So it is the thing that number of zeros or roots of the polynomial is always equal to or less than the degree of the polynomial. So this is the number 1, very important. Next, number 2. If a polynomial px is divided by x minus a, comma, then the remainder will be p of a equal to r. This thing you already got in class 9, yes or no?
Sir, yes.
Remainder theorem, yes or no? So that means, what is the meaning of this one? Suppose you have given one polynomial, suppose 3x square plus 2x plus 1, and you are asked to divide this polynomial by x minus 1. So by x minus 1, then now see x minus 1, then the remainder will be how much? If when you put the value of 1 in this equation, the value of then the value which you will get after putting the value of 1. Now see, you have already found in class 9 remainder theorem that if x minus 1 is 3x square plus 2x plus 1, then you have to put what? X equal to 1 or minus 1. You have to put x equal to 1, yes or no? If it is x minus 1 is a that means if x minus 1 is a factor. Now see, this is divisible by x minus 1. See, is divided by x minus a. That means suppose x minus 1. That means it is divisible by x minus 1. That means it is when you divided this px polynomial by x minus 1. Then according to theorem, you have to put according to theorem what? P of x will be equal to 0. If it is completely divisible, then sorry, P of 1 will be 1 minute. So now see, so when suppose px is completely divisible by x minus 1, let suppose px is completely divisible by x minus 1, then p of 1 equal to 0, you have already found in class 9. And again, if it is not completely divisible by x minus 1, then remainder will be, which one will be remainder? After putting the value of x equal to 1. That means when you put p of 1, that means you will get some value. This value will be the remainder when it is divisible by x minus 1. Now, Kosik, can you hear me now? So clear? So this is the meaning. If a polynomial px is divided by x minus a, then the remainder will be p of a equal to r. That means suppose let me take suppose 3x square plus 2x plus 1 is not completely divisible by x minus 1. Then if you put p of 1, then put the value 1 square 2 into 1 plus 1. So it will be 3 plus 2 plus 1, 6. So 6 will be the remainder when 3x square plus 2x plus 1 is completely divisible by x minus 1. Okay, not completely. When it is divided by x minus 1, then 6 will be the remainder. Okay. This is one example. Okay. So next item, the third point. Kosik, can you hear me now? The third point is write down, if a polynomial px is Now see, what is the meaning of it is the meaning of divided by. That means divided by means what? It may have some remainder, but when it is divisible by, that it has no remainder. Clear, Harshati?
Yes.
Suppose, let me take one example. Suppose when 7 is divided by 2, then 1 is the remainder, but 6 is divisible by 2. So there is no remainder because 2 3 is 6. But when 7 is divided by 2, remainder is 1 because 2 3 is 6, 1 is remainder. This is the meaning. When polynomial px is divided by this one, it may have remainder or it can be completely divisible also. But when it is directly given that divisible, that means there is no remainder. Now see, 7 is divided by 2, 6 is divided by 2. So it may have, it has no remainder because it is completely divisible by 2. But divided by 2 not meaning that it is completely divisible. Divided by 2 means you have to divide 7 by 2. But divisible by 2 means when you divide 6 by 2, you will get remainder as 0. So I done if a polynomial px is divisible by x minus a, comma, then p of a equal to 0. Suppose you have given one example. Suppose px equal to, suppose linear. Let me take one linear example. Linear polynomial. Suppose 2x plus 1. Kaushik, now can you hear me? So 2x plus 1. Suppose it's a linear polynomial. Now if you put, that means now suppose it is completely divisible by x plus half. Why? Because when you find the roots of the equation, you have to equate by 0. So x should be minus half. But you have to write down here plus, yes or no? And when you complete divide 2x plus 1, I'm going to divide in plus 9, 2s are. So it will be 2x plus half. So 0, yes or no? So when you divide x plus half by 2, when you multiply x plus half by 2, it is complete. You can, it is when you will get 2x plus 1. Clear? That means, now see, that means if you put, that means what? 2x plus 1, this is a linear polynomial. 2x plus 1 is a linear polynomial, and it is completely divisible by x plus half. So according to this statement, P of A will be equal to 0. Now see, it will be what? P of A, that means what? It will be what? P of half or minus half? It will be? Aswati?
Minus.
Yes, minus half. This thing already we have got in class 9. 1 minute. Kaushik, 1 minute. So that means now P of minus half will be equal to 0 because this is the roots of the equation, roots of this polynomial. So this is the meaning of this one. Okay. So these are some important points about polynomial. So now, all of you see the NCERT book, page number 21. NCERT book, page number 21. See the page number 21. So there is one topic is given, very important, geometrical meaning of the zeros of a Geometrical meaning of the zeros of a polynomial. Geometrical meaning of the zeros of a polynomial. Very important. So write down write down some points. Some linear polynomial ax plus b. When you plot linear polynomial ax plus b in the graph, it will be one straight line. So it shows a straight line. Number 2, write down. I will explain all the point. First, write down quadratic polynomial ax square plus bx plus c shows a parabola. Do you know what is parabola? The shape of the parabola is like this, parabola. I will explain all the things. So first I done open upwards like this one u. If a greater than 0, that means if the value of a, that means the value of coefficient of x square greater than 0, then the shape of this parabola will be upward. Now number b, open downwards like inverted u. If a less than 0, that means if the coefficient of x square less than 0, then when you plot this polynomial in graph paper, you will the graph will be like a parabola. Its shape will be like this, downward parabola. If a is less than 0, suppose -1, minus x square, minus 2x square. So this is number 2 point. Okay. After this, finish writing.
Yes.
Then number 3. So a polynomial of degree n. Suppose we don't know the degree. Suppose degree n. N means it can be any number, 1 to natural number 1, 2, 3, 4. Cross means intersect. Okay. Crosses the x-axis at most n points. At most means maximum n points. So at most means maximum n points. Okay. Suppose let me take one polynomial, linear polynomial. Suppose 2x plus 3. So when you plot this polynomial in the graph by using this one, we have already learned how to plot a graph. How to plot the equation. You have to put the value of x. Yes or no? You have to put the value of x. So suppose this is let y equal to 2x plus 3. So you will take some value of x and then you will get some value of y. Suppose after putting the value, you will get a straight line, because we have already discussed that linear polynomial shows a straight line. That's why. So you will get one straight line, x. So it will be y and y dash. It will be x and x dash. Okay, you will get straight line. Now see the straight line. Now see, it is the polynomial in terms of what, x or y? This polynomial is in terms of x. Yes or no? So yes.
Sir, yes.
So by looking the graph in exam, suppose one graph will be given and you are asked the line has, sorry, the polynomial has how many solutions. So it depends upon, first you have to see whether the variable is x or y. Here the variable x, that means the polynomial is 2x plus 3. We have to let y equal to 2x plus 3 for plotting the your polynomial, but actually the polynomial is x plus 3. So now you have 2x plus 3. So the polynomial is in terms of x. So you have to look at how many points the graph cuts the x-axis. How many points? How many points? 1 point. Yes or no, Vasudhi? Yes. 1 point. So that's why the your solution of this polynomial will be what? How many solutions it has? It has only one solution. Yes or no? So in such way, you have to find how many solution of a polynomial has by looking the graph of the polynomial. Okay. So this is just one example, and from tomorrow we'll start the we'll discuss all this point. Point number 1, point number 2, then point number 3. Okay, clear?
Sir,
Ashwati?
yes.
Okay. So